Hey guys, what I want to show you today is how to build the locket from the illusionist with limited or no experience and resources. This is just a simple how-to guide, and I have no prior woodworking experience or anything like that, and I'm really happy with the final outcome. So hopefully, if you follow these steps, you should come out with a locket similar or the same to the one I made, if not better. So these are the tools that I use. I use Gorilla Glue, wood glue, sandpaper, a small Dremel, some wood files, and an electric drill. Now, you've probably got already a few of these lying around the home. Some of them you may need to acquire, but most of these things most people have somewhere in their home. So, like I said, this is quite a cheap project to make. You're not going to need a lot of resources. All you need is wood, and you can go out a bit extra and get magnets or, like a chain, which I'll get into later on in the video. So let's begin. First things first, this is just a 2D model that I made up. I'm gonna link to this actually in case you want to use this as a reference of the locket. Really, just to get a feel for it. I printed out a few different shapes, and this seemed the best for not only our purposes in like the aesthetics, that it looked well, but actually being a functioning model, because we're gonna need space within the locket to move and for things to rotate. So this is the best form factor for both purposes. So yeah, it's just under 5 centimeters tall and 1.8 centimeters wide. Now I cut it out, and like you can see, it looks. That's the shape that we're after. So that's when I knew I had the right form factor. So I went ahead and I printed out a couple copies, probably too many, and you don't need to do this, but I laminated it so I could use the same copy or the same piece that I cut out over and over again. Just instead of having a couple of different pieces, different sizes, and then I was sanding them down to varying sizes or whatever. So anyway, this is one of the quintessential pieces of the project that you're gonna want to get right. And what you need is a cylindrical hollow tube for a nail to fit in and spin around. What I found is best and most accessible in the home is a pen cartridge or pen refill or an ink tube, whatever you want to call it. Now, I think this is just under 3 millimeters wide, and the nail on the right fit perfectly within it. So, actually, I didn't end up using that nail Telelite. The nail I ended up using obviously was quite a bit smaller. I was going to cut this one down, but I ended up finding a smaller nail. But essentially, you're going to want the pen refill about 1 centimeter in length. And what's going to happen is that pen refill is going to go within the nail, and the nail is going to be fixed within one piece of the body, with the body of the locket, and the other piece is going to be glued to the plastic refill. So the refill will spin freely around the nail while the nail is fixed in place in the body. As you know, I didn't have a lathe. I'm sure a lot of you don't have a lathe lying around your house. So the best way I found to counter this is where the drill comes in handy. Is that I cut out pieces of sanding paper, and I put a piece of doweling, into the bit where the bit actually goes in the drill, and I used a cable tie, as you can see here, just to hold the drill trigger down so it kept spinning, and I secured the drill with my legs and just used my hands to wind it down. Now this is quite an essential piece. As you can see up here, there's one piece that's slightly thicker than the other, and this is before I finished sanding it down completely, but you're going to want to have the body around 3 mil, or the main piece of this 3 mil thick, and then you're going to want to have probably 2 or 3 mil that is 1 mil or 2 mil thicker. Now what that's going to do is you're going to glue this to the pieces on the top of the locket that are going to rotate to reveal the pitches, and that slightly thicker bit is going to stay within the body and stop it from pulling out, because you're going to have a piece of wood behind that. Now it sounds confusing now, but it makes a lot more sense once you actually start putting this project together. But that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to have a body or a main shaft about 2 or 3 mil thick, and then you're going to want to have just a little bit 2 or 3 mil in height, extruding about 1 or 2 mil thicker. Like I said, it sounds confusing, but trust me, once you understand what's going on and what's moving and what's not, which I will explain later, and it's a lot easier to understand. Now I ordered teak for my project, which was 1.5 mil thick, and the only reason I ordered it is because it's the thinnest wood that I could find that had a nice aesthetic to it. So you might need if you have like a belt sander lying at home or something like that, you might want to get thicker wood, like 4 or 5 mil, and sand it down. But this is all I had, so this is all I could find, and I don't have a belt sander, obviously. So what I did was I glued 3 sheets of this together, and I learned in this project that teak is actually naturally really oily, so it's really hard to stick together. So I had to clean it down with alcohol wipes. As you can see, I just used these basic alcohol wipes. And I stuck these 3 sheets together to make a 4.5 mil thick, because they're 1.5 mil each. I stuck them all together, made a 4.5 mil thick body piece, and that's what I'm going to use for the main body. So make sure you use enough glue and you clamp it down hard enough, so, or put some weights on it or whatever, so you have a really good bond. So it's almost like it's just one single piece after you've glued it. And I dried mine off after obviously alcohol wiping it, and then I glued it. And then I used my template and I started cutting out the heart shape. This is the first piece. What you're going to need is you're going to need 2 pieces from your 4 to 5 mil thick piece of wood. I used 4.5 mil, which I would recommend, but anything from 4 to 5 mil is perfect. And you're going to want 2 of these templates from your 4.5 mil. So you're also going to want 1.5 mil thick pieces. You're going to want 4 of those. So just to reiterate, you're going to want 2 4.5 mil thick pieces, which is the 3 sheets I stuck together, and you're going to want 4 1.5 mil pieces. And what happens is each body piece has 2 of the 1.5 mil pieces stuck either side. One of these moves and the other one is solid in place. So let's skip forward. This is just after I colored out the first piece and sanded it down a bit, and then I did the same for the other side and sanded them down a bit more. Like you're gonna tell in these pictures, my sanding isn't perfect, but I end up going back. I make them both exactly the same size or near enough at the end of the project. So after a lot of sanding, I achieved that, and that's in the pendant shape before it rotates. I made a big mistake. I put my hole in the wrong place, so like you can see here, you've got the piece there and the piece there. So I put my hole in the wrong place. You don't want to do this. Essentially, you see here where the heart kind of starts to curve away. It's not flat. From this flat piece here, let me go back. From this flat piece here and the flat piece at the bottom, you're going to want to measure, and halfway between that's where you're going to want to put your nail with the refill in. And also, on the opposite side, you're going to want to drill a hole that will accommodate the refill and the nail. I think mine ended up being 4 mil, so it was really tight. And hopefully if you can find something like thinner, a thinner refill and a thinner nail head, then you can do a 3 mil or a 2 mil hole. But 4 mil is the thinnest I could find, so that's what I went for. So again, between the top, before it starts to curve, that flat piece there, and the bottom, halfway in between that's where you want the hole and the nails going to go into with the refill on. So this is just me using my makeshift lathe, and I just grinded down my piece of dowel some more. And now, once you have your piece of dowel grinded down to the right size, like I said, I think mine is 4 mil thick and 5 mil at the top. You're going to want to put your 2 pieces together, clamp them together, and then drill a hole straight down the middle of the 2 pieces. And where you're going to want to drill that is, you're going to want to measure the entire length of both sides, and then you're going to want to measure half of that, so cross off half of that, and then you're going to want to measure at the bottom half in the middle of that. So half, and then the bottom half, that's where you want to put your hole. That's going to fit the piece of doweling that you've made that will rotate the pictures, the front frame, so you can see the pictures. And now on the opposite side, so as you can see, this is the front side, which is the 4 mil hole. Actually, sorry, this is probably a 3 mil hole. And then you're going to want to rotate it over, and you're going to want to notch out with a flat piece a 4 or 5 mil hole, depending on the thickness of the top of the piece of doweling that you made. And then you're also going to want to, if we skip ahead, That's just showing off what we've done. So now your doweling, you're going to want to pull it in a vise or clamp it together, and you're going to want to cut straight down the middle. Now mine was slightly off, but it's not the end of the world. And now once you have your 2 half pieces, this is just showing, this is really optional. I put magnets in mine, so it gives a nice click when you rotate, but you don't have to do that. But if you can find magnets, like I found 10 tiny magnets, I think they're just under 2 mil each, for I think £1 or £2. So like I said, it's worth it at the end, just to have that nice finish, and it gives a really satisfying click when you rotate it, and it helps hold it together better than just friction alone and spinning around the barrel. So I put magnets in like so. And this is what I wanted to show you. My 2 pieces of doweling I've now cut down to size so they fit. Like you can see, this top piece here, that's going to fit and spin around here without falling out, because it's thicker than the hole that it'll fit round. But because you have 2 pieces, it's going to rotate in a 360 motion with no problem fixed in place. So as long as those 2 fit together perfectly within those 2 holes, you're not going to have a problem. And I've also gone ahead and made a notch in the top piece that we cut out. See this piece here? And that notch is to house the bottom of the doweling, which you're going to glue directly into that. So like you can see, this is the project so far. These are the 2 body pieces with the holes cut in them. These are the 2 top pieces that are going to like slide away to show the picture. And these are the 2 pieces that we're going to glue into the top pieces to spin. So let's go forward. Now I've glued them on. Like you can see up here, I made a little mistake, but I'm going to use that for the back one anyway, which you won't see. And these are the 2 pieces glued down. This is completely optional again. I couldn't find like a washer or anything to put here, so I just cut some staples down. But these are essentially, I'm going to put magnets where the photos go, and these magnets are just going to hold the frames down a little bit better than they would just by friction and still there alone. So these are just the 2 pieces of metal that the magnets will clamp to when it's closed. And like you can see, these are the 2 magnets that I've put. These are going to go behind the pictures. And I've also got another flat piece, and I've drilled 2 holes for the pictures. So you like in your project, if you're going to want 2 pictures, make 2 holes either side. And now I went out and I found this like necklace, and it had a heart here which I took off, and it gave this really nice flat piece here. And I'm just going to stick that to the top of the project, with the top of the locket, sorry. And that pretty much is going to finish it off. Like I said, it's not a hard project to do. Anyone with enough time is going to be able to do this, and you're going to end up with a really nice project. Now I'm going to just cull it here, and I'm going to show you. Last but not least, this is the pattern that I've come up with for, it's quite accurate to the film, but it also works with the dimensions of our locket. And this is the pattern that I'm going to apply in the end to my locket. Now I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do it, whether I'm going to cull it out, which I showed here. I did try that earlier, and the knife I was using wasn't sharp enough, but I'm probably either going to spray it or maybe get some vinyl cut if I can find someone that will cull it for me. But yeah, these are just the small details. If you have a steady enough hand, you could probably paint this on. But like I said, you don't need it. I'm tempted to leave without it, but it'd be more authentic, and it just looks a bit nicer with the pattern. To add that. But essentially, I'm going to cut to a video now, just showing the final locket. And if you guys have any questions or anything like that, please ask.